Welcome to Occam's Razor. Please like, share, subscribe. It helps to push the channel. Today's topic is election interference by the mainstream media. They're doing it all the time. Today, I think we'll just cover this one story here. Conservative plan to tackle 10 cities looks like political theater, experts say. Let's look at this title. Experts in plural. As we go through the story, you will see that there is only one expert actually cited. She is an expert. So right off the bat, you have a lying title. Way to go, CP24. Lying right off the bat, right at the start of the story. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said Wednesday he would give more power to dismantle 10 cities, but critics said his plan signals the conservatives want to take a punitive approach to homelessness. So this whole framing of his plan for homeless encampments is to frame it as punitive, punitive, right? So right off the bat, they are making, as instead of reporting it objectively, they are making the conservatives look like the bad guy. Right in the first line, punitive. When we know, if anybody's listened to the conservative platform, is that they are completely appalled, as all Canadians should be, at the state of the economy that has resulted in mass amounts of homeless camps. Now, there are homeless camps because people have lost their economic wealth and they're living on the streets. And a lot of that has to do with the economy that the liberals have created. But the other big part of these homeless encampments is the harm reduction. All the free drugs flowing on the street, basically just giving all these people, all these addicts, the ability to get free drugs, which with use to to trade for on the streets for harder drugs. And once you're in a cycle of addiction like this, without any plans to actually get into some form of recovery, it's a spiral. Eventually, it will take your life, and people have no place to live, and the government has made it easier for them to act unsocially within society because they've made it legal now. So now we have these 10 cities exploding everywhere. And the conservative approach has been to help these people. They need help, they need treatment. The liberal approach has been just to fund more drugs, give them more drugs. Over 50,000 Canadians have died of overdoses since this harm reduction plan has started. I don't know what to say. This is horrible. During a police announcement in Hamilton, Ontario, Poilievre blamed Liberal policies. Well, they are responsible. If you look at the state of Canada was in 2015 and 10 years later today, we did not have all these homeless encampments. We still had 10 cities here and there, but we did not have the proliferation we see today. For those trapped in these camps, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our neighbors, they are left to suffer in the cold, to overdose, and sometimes die alone. Letting these cities sprays not compassion is chaos. So just a wording there. That is his wording. He says, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our neighbors. The Christian notion of loving your neighbor is a very important one. Because not only do we love our neighbor, we're supposed to respect our neighbor. If you follow the 10 Commandments, not the 10 catechisms of the Roman Catholic faith, but the actual 10 Commandments of the Old Testament, if you follow those, you would respect other people and you would help them in a Christian way. But here, we all we see is exactly what he's stating. We just want to help these people. And by helping, again, he's talking about assistance and giving these people recovery options, not just more drugs, recovery options. The Conservatives are promising to amend the criminal code to allow police to arrest people who are blocking public spaces with tents or temporary shelters. No more excuses by politicians claiming they don't have the powers, Poilievre says. No more paralysis from politically correct liberal politicians who are too afraid to take action. Now, obviously, there would be some kind of recovery program required to usher these people in and help them. And once you start tearing down these 10 cities, you have to give them a place to go. And of course, he's talked about that in his program, in his platform. And And there's a lot of cases there are programs. There's always a free program out there everywhere. There are anonymous recovery programs for all types of addiction, and they don't cost a penny to attend. They are self-funding. And in society, as long as these are there, people who want help can go over there and get help. A lot of people don't want help and it's to be pushed. And that's what this is about. Polyev said police would have the power to criminally charge the occupants of tent encampments. But he added that judges could sentence people charged with illegally occupying a public space and simple possession of illegal drugs to mandatory drug treatment instead of harsher penalties. Right there, this is telling us that the conservatives are planning legislation. But when the liberals and their supporters start to react, they only think of the current state, the current paradigm of destruction that they have created, as if that is the only way for society to move forward. Whereas the conservative plan is no, no, no. We're going to uniform foxtrot all that bull you did for the past 9 years, and we're going to bring in proper legislation to fix these problems and to help these people. So that when they go up in front of a judge, that legislation is there for him to point to in law and say, okay, buddy, we're going to put you in for treatment. You shouldn't be living on a street like this. We're going to give you help. As opposed to the liberal way, which is, well, just some more rock hard candy from the candy store because your taxpayer dollars are paying for that. And by the way, if you have an incident, here's some Narcan for you and you can do it all over again. Polyev said police would have the power to criminally charge occupants, and that is where people are getting their knickers in a knot. We're here to give people a way out, he said. But that's not what the liberals hear. All they hear is, oh my God, they're going to throw them all in jail, they're going to arrest them all. So the expert that they have cited here is, where is she? Esther Van Wagner, an associate professor at the University of Victoria's Law Faculty, said the conservative plan smacks of political theater. Where laws are being broken, we have adequate means for the police to step in. So there's no gap here that they would be filling, she said. This is more performative. So who is Esther Van Wagner? Now, you look at everything that she just read there, right? She's only stuck in the current paradigm. She only believes that with the current laws that are in place, this is the only way to go, right? So anything else is political theater. Let's just ignore the fact that the conservatives have been talking about legislation to help uniform foxtrot this mass unliving of Canadians by giving them harm reduction. She doesn't understand that, right? She's she's a lawyer and she's been studying this for quite a while and she's been involved in this for a while. She's very familiar with the current laws, but she has no vision. And why does she have no vision? Well, let's look at who she is. Dr. Esther Van Wagner is the co-director of Osgood's Environmental Justice and Sustainability Clinic, Faculty of Law, University of Victoria Wellington Faculty of Law. Right, so she has her bona fides, but she's a co-director of environmental justice and sustainability. Where do we hear that kind of language? Oh, yes. That's that diversity, equity, inclusion type language that they use in order to foment a specific ideological social change within society. And they use these wishy-washy words to make it sound important. Joanne Craig has been involved in several ARC fund research plans. Let me go through here. Let me see this. Frequent collaborator with the Office of Federal Housing Advocate on Human Rights and Homelessness. She researches and teaches at the intersection of property law, natural resource law, planning law, and environmental justice. See, intersection environmental justice. So often the DEI folks will also use these words of intersection, where things meet and cross. Yeah, that's how things have always interacted. They just like to create new words for this. But it's right there. You can see that the wokeification of the entire thing has happened here. Now, why? Why does she think this way? Well, let's look at this Osgood York piece right here. Among other projects, Van Wagner has overseen or contributed to research that takes human rights approaches to homeless encampments, including analysis of City of Toronto's approach to encampments during the pandemic and an overview of homeless encampments across Canada prepared for the Office of Federal Housing Advocate. Okay, so all this has been done during destruction that the Liberals have wrought economically upon Canada that has created all these homeless camps. My hope, she says, is that our research is useful to groups working on the grounds to mobilize change at the local level. Saying to municipalities that the way you're dealing with homeless encampments is violating human rights is a manifestation of failure to realize the right to housing. Okay, so what's the right to housing in Canada? Well, better yet, what's the right to owning your property and keeping it safe? Ultimately, he adds, my research is really aimed at understanding how property and property law contribute to various forms of injustice. Oh, property law is now a form of injustice. So if you own a property and people trespass on it, um, that's an injustice to whom? The property owner or the person who pitched a tent on it that you have to them removed because they are damaging and soiling your property. It's which one has a right here? The property owner or the homeless person who's camping out on your property? Under Canada's colonial system, oh, there we go, colonial system of property law, says Van Wagner, the concept of ownership is often understood as exclusionary. It's our property, we own it, and we get to decide. Well, well, yeah, that's that's the concept of property in Western civilization, in democracies. Um, where is that not a thing? Oh, communism, commie countries. That's right, where you don't own any property. Or I guess the World Economic Forum, where you will own nothing and be happy, which is just like communism. But yeah, it's okay. So we need to really think that in order to put human rights and social justice, here we go again, and equity, we all know what equity is. Equity is not equality. Equity only means that you're either more equal than others, or we have to bring everyone lower to the same level of poverty so that everyone is equitable, right? Because if you had some people that are living better than the others, you have to bring that person down. That's equity. We really think that in order to put human rights and social justice and equity at the center of our decision making, she says, there needs to be a much more nuanced approach to how we share property. So that's the expert. That is the expert that CP24 has referenced. Um, she may not have said she's an avowed communist, but she certainly seems to believe in communist ideology in regards to property rights. I'm not saying that the rest of her work is not valid. She's obviously a very, very busy advocate, and I'm sure she's done great work. But in regards to advancing our society in Canada, communism is not a good thing. We've seen the last 10 years of communist like totalitarian half-wittery pushed on us by the liberals. And these people here, obviously, again, have all the buzzwords, equity, intersection, social justice. Yeah, but not a single thing I've read here from her talked about addressing the fact that it is the economy, stupid, that really is creating a problem here and disallowing people to live with a roof over their heads. This has been Occam's Razor. Thanks for hanging out to the end. I really appreciate all of you who have been viewing these videos. I really appreciate some thumbs ups on those too. Those likes, they really help to push the video out. I know this is a new channel. It's going to take a while to build it up. Um, have a great day. We'll see you again later. Bye.